Alrighty, what's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. You're watching the daily series of Nwadei MMA. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing well. Me, myself, I'm doing great. You know. Just got done with some training. I'm recording this one at night. You might be hearing it in the morning. You know, but it's all good. It's all good. And I wanted to discuss UFC 285, as all of you probably know by the title of this video, and how long Jon Jones will reign as the baddest man on the planet, as heavyweight champion of the world. And I think I have some interesting takes, as most of y'all probably already know from watching this channel. However, if you're new to this channel, this is the daily series where I give you my thoughts, but more importantly, ask for your guys' thoughts, because y'all are the MMA community and I can't keep up with this fast-paced, fast-moving MMA community all by myself. Not only do I cover the UFC, but I also cover one championship, or at least I'm trying to be one of the ones that do it for y'all, because I just believe that it's one of the best home of martial arts promotions in the business. And if y'all don't believe me, y'all can go ahead and watch some of my past videos. I've broken down some of the fights, I've recapped some of the events, and they're almost always, if not just as exciting as the UFC, even better. Now I'll touch more on that in another video if you guys want me to, but with that being said, if you guys want to support my content, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Let's try and get 20 likes on this video. I think that's a good goal, right? 20 likes, that's not too hard. After all, it is just a click of the button. Supports me, why not? And you are more than welcome to subscribe for more daily MMA content and in-depth fight analysis. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the video. Okay guys, so Jon Jones defeated Ciryl Gane at UFC 285. Okay, alright, I'm gonna go ahead and admit that I was wrong about parts of my analysis about the fight. My official prediction for the fight was, I was leaning more towards Gane, but my main prediction was that it was going to bring out the best in both fighters. However, I only believe that to be half true. I believe that to be half true because, by the way, I'm going to get into how long he will reign, but first I want to recap the event a little bit. I believe that to be half true because I think that while it did not bring out the best in Gane, while I feel like he kind of fumbled the bag a little bit, and I think he kind of maybe folded under the pressure a little bit. He said he was worrying about the ref telling him to move or something like that for why he readjusted in that guillotine position with his back against the cage. But I do think that it brought out the best in Jon Jones. So to give a brief summary of what I mean, I believe that while Jon Jones is undeniably one of the greatest of all time, maybe even the greatest of all time, I still think that there's a debate with that, because I think that there's always going to be a debate. I think it's kind of subjective with, you know, just the different fighters. But I think that however great he is at both striking and the grappling portion of MMA and mixing it up and everything like that, I think that where he is best is in the grappling aspect. He had a wrestling background, right? That's probably where he's most comfortable, in those wrestling exchanges, and that's why he's so good at the in-between game, like the clinch game and kind of those snap down front headlock kind of guillotine against the cage scenarios, and his defensive wrestling. And I think that over these past few years he's been working a lot with the grappling, which is actually what he's been talking about in all his interviews after the fight. He was talking about that's where he felt most comfortable in the fight. And of course, there was a little bit of ring rust in there. You saw that with the striking a little bit. His timing was a little bit off. He couldn't really intercept Ciryl because Ciryl wasn't really coming to him. He was circling back and away, kind of how I thought he was going to do and what I thought he needed to do. But instead of still just staying on the outside like that, Ciryl did try to close the distance a little bit, and Jon was ready for it. Why I say he showed the best version of himself is because I think that he needs to be trying to grapple everybody, not just at the heavyweight division. He could have been doing this at the light heavyweight division. You saw what happened to Alexander Gustafsson when he did get him on the ground. How many people did he really try and grapple like that? I know he tried to grapple Dominic Reyes a bit like that. He couldn't really get him down that much, but like if he does get on top of you, his length mixed in with his vicious ground and pound, it's a real problem. I think that's probably where he's the best. So in saying that, why I think this fight brought the best out of him is because of that uncomfortability on the feet. He needed to get the fight to the ground. He felt like he needed to get the fight to the ground as quick as possible, and the way he did that was by slipping off the jab. Beautiful, by the way, just a beautiful setup and something you would see out of the greatest of all time. But he slips that jab, he closes the distance to get that standing clinch back control, and has our arm trapped, drags him to the ground heavy on the hips. I can break this down if y'all want me to. I'll go ahead and do this on one of my training partners and talk my way through it if y'all want me to explain kind of how he just kind of destroyed Ciryl Gane in that scenario. But to continue my point, I believe that him kind of almost feeling like he needed to grapple and having that sense of uncomfortability, it really did bring the best out of him. I thought we saw where Jon Jones is best, because I think he is best on the ground rather than his striking. He's not really much of a pure striker. Like, he's learned it along the way, and of course he's gotten better at it, and he's been able to dominate guys with it, especially with the way he manages his range, and when he's active, he has really good timing. But I think that just with his mindset and his grinding kind of fight style, I think he's one of the best grapplers that we will see in MMA, not just in a pure jiu-jitsu sense or in a sambo sense, as some of you guys casuals will kind of try and say, but just in a sense of grappling, just the art of grappling in general, mixed in with the strikes, because that's what MMA grappling is. I think that he's one of the best that we've ever seen do it, and so I thought, yes, in a sense, I was right, and it did bring the best out of Jon Jones. Now, in saying this, how long will Jon Jones reign? Well, let's talk about what we learned from the fight. We learned that Jon Jones, he came back, and while his striking was a little bit off, he's probably going to need more sparring before this fight, or more time just in a cage to kind of get acclimated to the weight, the division, the striking. We still haven't seen how his cardio will hold up, but we saw that, man, his IQ and his willingness to engage is just as high as ever. I mean, I don't think anyone really doubted that he was gonna go in there and maybe freeze up or have that ring rust. I think everyone knows that Jon Jones' actual mindset is just a murderer, right? That's kind of a psychopath. Like, he's always gonna be ready. I mean, if you want to disagree with me, you can, but he's just that guy, right? I mean, if you watched my reaction to the video, I'm sure you heard in the background a couple of my friends just talking about how he's a psychopath and he's not gonna lose because he's a psychopath and whatever. But I didn't see him having much ring rust. Maybe with the timing, of course, because that's what ring rust is, but not with the mentality. I didn't think he was gonna like freeze up out there, which is why I thought it was gonna be a really good fight. And so, talking about what we learned from the fight, obviously we learned that ring rust doesn't exist for Jon Jones. At least in the grappling portion, because he's been working on it. And maybe another thing that we also learned is that for some of you who this was y'all's first time watching him, he handles pressure better than anyone I've ever seen. Anyone that you have ever seen. I mean, Khabib handled it well, Conor handled it well, but I mean, when the light is brightest and you really get down to just a fight, and I'm gonna be better than you on your best day, on my worst day, and with the most amount of pressure, I'm gonna put all this pressure on myself. That's Jon Jones. That's Jon Jones. And he used to have kind of a psychotic way of dealing with that pressure. He kind of used to almost self-sabotage himself before fights. I know some of y'all have heard about the kind of drinking stories, how he used to go out and party a week before the fight so that he had an excuse if he lost. But I mean, nowadays I feel like he's a lot more matured and composed, and I feel like he just deals with it, man. He's one of the best at just dealing with pressure. And so, talking about that, he's only gonna have big fights from here on out, so that's important that we know that he's that good at dealing with pressure. And I think that moving forward, when we talk about how long he will reign in this heavyweight division, we gotta keep in mind that Jon Jones is here for a good time, man. We gotta enjoy him while he's here. He's here for a good time and not for a long time. And by the way, for those of you still watching this video, and for those of you who think that I'm a hater for greatness, or just for these Dagestani guys, or for Jon Jones, y'all thought I was hating on him maybe, or maybe y'all just think I'm stupid. God, I fully know what I'm saying, and I fully know how good these people are. I'm not clueless in that fact. I mean, I've been training for about 6 years now with some really good coaches and guys who've been around the block for a long time, and if I told you some stories about them, y'all wouldn't even believe me. But what I'm trying to say is I'm not naive to the skill and the level of these guys, but I am a fan of greatness. I'm an absolute fan of greatness, and while it seems like I hate on it sometimes, in all honesty, what it is me almost creating that doubt for myself, because I want to doubt them so that they can prove me wrong. That's almost what it is. It's a little, I might be a bit of a psychopath. I might be a little crazy. Let me know what y'all think about that in the comments down below, please. But yeah, I almost try and create doubt in myself, even though, man, I knew that it was going to be a good fight. I knew that Jon Jones could very well win. I mean, I said that, I believe. But one, I didn't expect the way he did it. And two, I wanted to see him be a better version of himself in the past, because however great he is, obviously there's still mistakes. He's not a perfect fighter, and we have to respect that as martial artists, right? And so we're always going to be talking about what they could have done better, or what they can do better, or what they can be getting better at. And in saying that, I feel like a lot of y'all think I disrespect them, but instead it's me really actually wanting them and begging for them to be great. And if they watch these videos, then maybe some of them using this kind of hate or doubt to drive them to even be greater. So that's just a little bit maybe of clarity for y'all to know me a little better, and kind of what I do on this channel, because it's never hate. I love martial arts. I love greatness. I love watching the best fighters fight. I loved watching, like, the reason I even was so excited about Islam Makhachev and Alexander Volkanovski, even though I was going for Volkanovski, the reason I was so excited is because, man, I just love watching high level mixed martial arts, and I'm a fan of it. And I wanted Alexander Volkanovski to just be great, and he did. And Islam Makhachev was great as well. And so I'm not gonna touch any more on that subject, but I just wanted to let y'all know, and because I want to be a little closer to y'all. But again, talking about how long Jon Jones will reign atop the heavyweight division, we already know one thing, that Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic are going to fight next. We know that it's going to be International Fight Week, which is June, July 8th. One of those dates. Let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, pretty much they're going to fight on that date. It's pretty much already set, so we know when his next fight is going to be. So we already kind of have it mapped out. It's March 6th today, maybe 7th when you're watching this. So by the time Jon Jones fights again, it'll be him being the champion for about 4 months. I think that Jon Jones does beat Stipe Miocic. Even though I think it's a great fight, I feel like Stipe is just kind of out of his prime for the most part. I mean, I think Stipe is obviously, he's a dog. He's the greatest heavyweight of all time, and I think that he can adapt and maybe even still win, of course, against Jon Jones. But I don't think the odds are going to be in his favor. I feel like the odds for Jon Jones are probably going to be crazy in this fight. I would probably say opening odds of maybe like a minus 300 to win. So in that sense, I do. By the way, I am a big Stipe fan as well. I just think that those wars with DC took a lot out of him. I think that the wars with Francis Ngannou took a lot out of him. I feel like his best days are behind him, and I think he's going to need his best day for the younger Jon Jones, the one who is still not necessarily in his prime, maybe for a heavyweight because their primes are a little bit later, but definitely the younger 35-year-old Jon Jones. And so saying he gets past Francis, who's next for him? I mean, Sergey Pavlovich and Curtis Blades are fighting. I think that the winner of that should probably get to fight Jon Jones, but I don't know if he's going to stay around for that, man. He said he only wants bigger fights. I don't think that either of those guys are really big fights for him. And if we're talking about a name, then I think that maybe Tommy Aspinall getting another win and getting back into that conversation, that could be a good fight for him. And maybe say in another 6 months. I know he said he only wanted to fight 2, maybe 3 times this year. So if he gets a win in International Fight Week, maybe we could see him fight in November, December, late in 2023. Or if not, maybe in 2024. And I think that a fight with Tommy Aspinall, after Aspinall gets a win, or depending on who he fights, or maybe all of our dream matchups, Francis Ngannou, if Francis Ngannou gets his boxing match and comes back. But Dana already kind of shut the door on that, which, oh man, it pisses me off. That pisses me off. He kind of already shut the door on that. I feel like that makes everyone mad, because I feel like the only reason he left was to have that freedom. Okay, he gets his freedom, he does his match, he win, lose, whatever, he's still a bigger name than he was yesterday. And I think it's kind of stupid not to take your heavyweight champion back. That causes a lot of controversy, whatever. Dana's stubborn. Okay, we get it. But let's all just pray and hope that can happen. Yeah, are we praying? Are you guys praying? Are y'all religious at all? Spiritual maybe? Okay, anyways. yeah, that's all of our dream matchups. Don't know if that's going to happen. So I'm looking forward to maybe Tommy Aspinall getting back in there, getting a win in time to maybe fight Jon Jones. He's coming off that knee surgery, so it'll be tough. I think Curtis Blades against Sergey Pavlovich is going to be a good fight, but I think Curtis Blades is probably going to win that. And with that being said, I want to see him against Curtis Blades because I believe it'll be a very tough test for him. It's a bigger guy. It's a guy who is predominantly a wrestler, but is ever getting better with the hands. I think that's a tough matchup for him, especially because he's a real heavyweight who's going to weigh in at like 250, strong like Cyril Gane, except with a wrestling background, you know. Another good style to watch Jon Jones against. But I think that he gets the job done against Stipe. I see him being the champion, heavyweight champion, for about a year before he has a real test in Tommy Aspinall or Curtis Blades. I believe both of those could really test him because of how young they are, because of how, while they're still young, how experienced they are, how explosive they are, and just dynamic. I think that that's going to be a test, and he's fighting guys younger than him now if he does do that. So it'll be interesting to see that. I know Dominic Reyes was younger than him. Thiago Santos was about the same age, but those were two of his maybe tougher fights. And so I just think it'll be interesting to see how he deals with the newest generation of these MMA fighters. But guys, let me know what you guys think. Let me know y'all's thoughts on what I had to say today. As always, like I said, this is me giving you my thoughts, but more importantly, asking for y'all's. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. However, with that being said, don't forget to like this video. Please thumbs up it. You know, I'm trying to grow. And if I get to 5,000 subscribers, you know, like anytime, I am giving away 2 free UFC tickets to whatever event that y'all want. So the sooner I get there, the better. Tell your friends to tell your friends that your boy Noah, Nwadei MMA, maybe the best MMA podcast on the market. But with that being said, y'all are more than welcome to subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in today. As always, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out. Peace.